What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's Dream Firm Leader interview, where we highlight one of the very best accounting professionals out there who is creating their dream firm. And what I would like to do, without further ado, is I would like to introduce to you the physical embodiment of Southern hospitality, a power couple so powerful that you can tell they are smiling simply by the sound of their voices, the gatekeepers to the hottest ticket in town for the best chili cook-off in the state of Tennessee. And please don't ask, I can't get you a ticket. A firm so magical, they managed to get a fraudulent review removed from Google My Business. Don't ask me how, I'm not even sure, but they found a way. They might share that experience later. It is a humbling experience, however, to bring to you the unfiltered wisdom and awe-inspiring experiences of the dream firm leaders of Crow, Mallet, and Associates, the man, the woman, the myths, the legends, Ken and Julie Mallet. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ken and Julie. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. How about you, Julie?
I'm great.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So first things first, chili cook-off happening this year or not? Because I know a lot of people are getting ready to beat down your door to make it happen.
Probably not going to be making it this year. So unfortunately, it's to be determined though. Let's just say that, to be determined.
I think we're going to have to see what COVID restrictions and things are still going on. But hopefully this fall we can bring it back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We'll make it an international event next year or this year.
Fantastic. And if there's one thing the French know nothing about, it's chili. They know nothing about chili.
So we know a little something about it.
When you guys are talking about chili, I just have to say right now, like, my heart soars knowing that you're going to send me a bowl of the best chili airmail to France, right? That's our promise to each other.
We can make that happen. That's easy.
Awesome. Cool.
That's easy.
So let's go ahead and jump in, because I know a lot of people are very excited and very curious to hear about your journey and what you've been able to accomplish. We talked a little bit about some of that, but before we get into those accomplishments, just bring us back to the beginning of your accounting journey and really how this all got started.
Wow. That's been a while. I've been a CPA for, close to 20 years and went out. I was in public practice, I was controller, CFO, so on, did that for a number of years. Went out on my own in 2009. I want to say it was 2009. I was actually a part of a national franchise group at that time, a national franchised accounting group, and did that for 10 years. And that was
not our thing.
Not the best fit. No, let's just say no. So we're happy we're no longer doing that. Past couple of years have been really good. Leaving that model that they had, we've grown a lot. We've grown a lot personally and professionally. And when we joined up with you, we have really made some leaps and bounds. And it's a lot of work. We've seen, oh my gosh, we've seen it all. I feel. Let me just say, as soon as I say I've seen it all, something else. The aliens could show up tomorrow, and believe me, I'd just be like, oh, okay, that's just normal. But it's been a really good journey. We've covered a lot of ground in the past 13 years that we've been on our own. It's been a ride, but it's been a great experience. I couldn't imagine life differently. So I like to tell people right now I'm probably unemployable because I love being an entrepreneur. I love what I do. So
that's fantastic. And I'm curious to know that if in 2009, and this is a little bit of a sidebar conversation, but I believe you guys have the strongest foundation for successful entrepreneurship, which is you share this journey with your partner, with your life partner. And that's very exciting. And I'm curious to know if in 2009, were you both full-time in the business simultaneously, or did that happen gradually over a longer period of time?
It was gradually. Julie worked for Northwestern, worked for
Mhm.
Northwestern Mutual, while getting the business off the ground. You know, the first 5 years, first 2 years of the business is the hardest 5 years of your life. And so we worked, so she worked a full-time job as well as helping me get this thing off the ground. When we started, I came out of essentially I was a corporate controller. So then when I went back in, and now we're in essentially public accounting, we had no clients. So we didn't come with a group of clients. We literally started at our kitchen table, picked the phone up. You know, it was an awful conversation because it sounded horrible, you know, and I was essentially calling and say, hey, can I be your accountant? There was a guy that day, I think I made a couple of phone calls at that time. And this guy named John Heinz said yes, you know, and even today, he is still my client. So that's something we've changed clients. We do turn clients over, but I can literally say the first client I brought on from my kitchen table, just off of a goofy phone call, they're still my client today. And that's something I'm really proud of.
That's absolutely awesome to hear. And from someone who comes from a legacy, my father, who really believed very much in the power of let's just make the direct contact, shortest point A to B, that can certainly bear fruit. And given the time frame and when you started, 10, 11, 12 years ago, I can see how that did bear fruit. But we're going to dive a little bit further into some things that might be a bit more efficient and a little less intimidating than cold calling.
Sure.
And we're going to make sure that we discuss a few of the things that you guys have rolled out very successfully here in just a little bit. But before we do that, I want to talk about your client selection, really who you look to work with, the services that you look to provide, just so that everyone here can understand the type of firm you guys are actively building right now.
So we're a full service CPA firm. We do payroll, accounting, bookkeeping, tax, business consulting, audit, review. Did I leave anything out?
I'm sure you did.
We do.
We have a list.
So we're a full service firm. And we work mainly with small to mid-sized businesses. That's kind of that's our wheelhouse. That's, really our bread and butter. We made an acquisition several years ago for a firm that had been in existence for about 40 years. And they were heavier on individual tax clients. So now we're probably 60-40 small to mid-sized businesses, monthly recurring revenue clients. And we probably do about 40%, would you say, in
Something like that.
In tax clients, individual and business tax clients. So that's kind of I would say that's probably our mix.
Fantastic. And I want to bring up just a small topic of conversation from what Ken shared in the beginning, which is related to franchise opportunity and choosing to transition out of that franchise opportunity. Because I talked to a lot of people who are currently either considering, currently invested in them, and there is something to be said for the advantages of what a franchise can offer. To put it politely, I'll say it's a business in a box. Yeah. But knowing what I know about Ken, we sometimes don't like to be put in boxes. We like to be able to go out and do other things and do them a certain way. So look, I'm just curious, what did you feel were some of the nice takeaways from that? But simultaneously, what was causing enough friction for you to say it's more worthwhile for me to be able to have my own path, chart my own path, if you're willing to share, of course.
No, I am. I'm like, wow, how much time do we have? Because I can get very passionate about this topic, and I think I can. So if I go too long, Tyler, just say, look, cut it off. We got to move on. Let me back up a little bit to why the franchise thing. When I came out of the corporate world, I didn't know how to, I'd been in a public firm, but I didn't know how to run one. I'd been an auditor. Done all this stuff, but that doesn't mean that you know how to run a firm. One of the things that I've got lucky in, I'm going to jump around here a little bit, is I got to work a lot one of our niches was, as Julie said, small business and startups. And we worked a lot with C-level people starting a franchise, starting something like that. And that transition is difficult. I've seen extremely successful people in the corporate world try to be an entrepreneur and fail within 6 months. Mm-hmm. So don't take a bet that guy will be successful, because you don't know it. I've seen it. So when I looked over and said I wanted to go to a franchise, when I was coming out of that corporate world, I didn't know what to do. I knew how to be an accountant. I knew how to be a CPA. But what attracted me was, hey, here's, as you just said, it's an accounting firm in a box. It's someone that's going to help me. That worked for probably 2 years, 3 years, maybe. And I will say, look, I'm not the sharpest tack in the box. Okay. I fully believe in the principle of, if you want to be successful, you better surround yourself by good people. And finding out after I got into that franchise, I found out that franchise was very antiquated. What I thought was really a good way of doing things, it was very antiquated. It was very old school. One of the biggest problems we have right now as CPAs is CPAs do not evolve quickly. That's not something you see. So, and this franchise didn't evolve quickly. They didn't react. They were not cutting edge. They were really good. They updated their website twice in the 10 years that I was with them. 2 times. It was a big deal. Yeah. Well, the first 5 years was they actually launched a website, and then they updated it, and so it was not, it sounded good. It sounded good on the outside, but then when you got in there, I was really left on my own to do everything. And not that I'm not willing to do the work, but I was looking for a business partner to help me grow a firm. And what I was getting was, give us a royalty on everything that you've done. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I created a website because you guys didn't have one. I went and did this because you guys didn't have it, because I wanted to better myself, but they were just wanting a piece of it. So I really felt throughout that it was I had a dead weight partner. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that pull there, when you start looking at how we were growing, and we were growing not using their techniques, because their techniques were very antiquated. But they're still wanting a royalty off of it. So I looked ahead and I said, you know what, it's going to cost some money to exit this thing. But in the grand scheme of things, over the next 5 years, yeah, it's going to cost a good bit of money, and it did. But I'm totally happy. It's been the best thing that has ever happened to get away from them. I do think the first 2 years was very valuable to our success. But when you look at the 10-year period, I could have gotten more. Tyler, I will say this as a kudo to you. The first 6 months of your program has been more valuable than that 10 years, hands down.
And we're not even 6 months in.
And we're not 6 months in. Okay. So, I can talk about this all day, and that experience and that transition, and go into a lot. The franchise opportunity sounded good, but I would not encourage anyone with a CPA credential or an EA credential to go that route, because you're not going to get this national recognition of your phone ringing off the hook. The only reason that phone rang off the hook was because of what I personally did. Mm-hmm. In this area. There was no national recognition. Actually, everybody didn't know my last name was Mallet. They thought my last name was the name of the franchise. Yeah. So it was one of those things. So I hope that answers.
It answers it perfectly, and we can simultaneously recognize the good of what it was able to bring to you.
Sure.
While also recognizing that there was a runway in which that was applicable. And I want to just compliment you on doing the math, right? You guys know I'm famous for saying math is the path. And you essentially looked at it and said, what is it going to take for me to get out of this, compared to how much am I going to be able to make, and how much more control am I going to have over my business? And more importantly, when I trade out a quote unquote deadweight partner for the partner of my life, right? What is the difference going to be when we're fully in control of the direction of our firm. And needless to say, it's been very impressive since then. So let's go ahead, Ken.
I want to add one thing to that. The thing as part of that franchise, and Tyler, you know this, we're big on a legacy. We have two beautiful children. We want to leave something behind for them. That model was not going to allow that to happen. So it was, what we're trying to build is if our children decide to go into the accounting field, that they have something. Under that model, that's not going to happen. Somebody will go, oh, hey, it'll work. Trust me, it won't. So I'll say that.
Yeah, and also the point that you raise about everything looks really good from the outside, and then people tend to rest on the success of the past, which is something that I take very seriously personally. And when we talk a little bit later on after this, you guys are going to see a little bit of the future of some of the things that we're rolling out, which I'm like I have to control myself. I'm like so excited to show you guys what that's about. But it is about continual improvement. And Ken, that's really what you were saying is like I was improving myself, but the thing that I was hoping that would help me to improve was stagnant. And that's a huge problem for a lot of people when they make investments. Is it might be good from the results they generated 5 or 10 years ago, but what have we done in the last couple of months? What have we been able to accomplish? How have we changed? How have we evolved? And if we can't point to something tangible, I'm sorry, you have to be very careful about those types of investments. And this is more of a broader message to everyone that's listening right now, something that of course Ken has already learned himself. So let's advance forward a little bit here.
Sure.
I want to talk about what your life was like before working with dream firms. Just describe a little bit of some of the problems and experiences that you were going through.
I'll let you talk.
So before dream firms, we thought we had a handle on what we should be doing. And it's like, after we started working with you, Tyler, we were going, we had no clue. It was chaotic, just to be honest with you. It was chaotic. We were scrambling.
It had nothing to do with me. Just want to throw that, it had nothing to do with me. Okay.
We were scrambling. We were disorganized. We were not living by our calendar, which is something that was probably the first aha moment we had with you. There were so many things. We were not efficient. We were spending time doing things that we were spending time doing things that there were so many simple technology fixes that we weren't aware of. We were spending time reading books about how to do this and going to CEs and trying to figure out how to make our business be more efficient. And then we realized we don't know what the heck we're doing after 13 years, but that came to light. It's all your fault.
I will say our technological advancements that we've had, we started right before COVID of moving to a cloud-based platform. And it took us a while to get it going. But the advancements that we've made since working with Tyler has been tremendous. I mean, I hate to tell people this, but we've actually got it set up that we're technologically advanced enough that Julie and I have, and I've told Tyler this, we've gone on a cruise and we never told anyone that we left.
Not even our employees.
Not even our employees. We said, hey, we have to go to a conference. Maybe that wasn't the best way, but we needed some time. And so literally we went on a cruise. No one knew we left. That, so our clients didn't know we had left. We handled everything. We still work. We did work. We didn't, that was one of the things, but that was when technological advancements are there, and that has changed our life dramatically.
That's amazing to hear. And it's so amazing because a lot of people imagine that point in their life where it's like, we can take off, right? Let's just throw the laptops in the bag and let's live a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not to say let's set our laptops on fire and never open our emails again, but this is to say what is the process that allows us to do that where nobody misses a beat?
Yeah.
The team knows what their responsibilities are. The clients understand how we're accessible, and we can take a look at what's going on from wherever we'd like, whether it's on a cruise ship in the middle of the Atlantic, whether it's in the south of France. It doesn't matter where we are, but this is having control over your business. And that is effectively what Julie said here. It's not that you guys didn't know anything. You guys have built a very successful business. You have a lot of successful processes already in place, but it's what we don't know that if we just knew a little bit about and got implemented the right way, what a radical difference that can make in how we think about our business, how our clients appreciate what we do, how effective our team members are at being able to help us deliver on our promises. So I just want to, again, compliment you guys for saying that. But Ken?
What you said, as I mentioned earlier, so many CPAs are antiquated in the way that they do things. I mean, we were, and if you look out and look for a CPA firm that says it's for sale, you can look at their description and tell if they're still using green bar paper, and that's real. That's no joke. But the advances that we've made our clients see it. Our clients see, hey, these guys have a portal. I don't have to do, there's not this crazy, you go in our offices and there's stacks of paper 12 feet high. I mean, literally, this is everything that we have right here. That's it. We don't have servers. We don't have anything. And it's those technological advances will, it changes your efficiency so much, but it also changes your life because, we do take off a lot throughout the year. I'll just say we do take off a lot, but that doesn't mean we're leaving our office. It doesn't mean we're leaving work, but we enjoy it. We enjoy it so much better. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in work will fill the time that you allot for it. And you can always do more. But the question that we lead in the program with is really what should you be doing? What should you be focusing on? What are your priorities? And once you really get those properly aligned, you realize that you don't need to necessarily invest as much time as you are, or you can get away and continue to make sure that we're making progress in the things that matter the most to the owners. And there's a huge difference between what a lot of antiquated CPA and accounting, bookkeeping, and tax firms, the owners are doing, because it's kind of the way it's always been done. And the innovation is slow, almost non-existent in many respects. But if we stay focused on what we do best, I feel like that innovation almost happens naturally, as opposed to trying to force all of these different things to happen simultaneously. So, by the way, where are you guys going this weekend?
Cancun.
I don't want your employees to find out that you're going on. I didn't ruin the surprise.
We kind of told them on this one. We just said, listen, we're gone. If you burn the place down, you better get it rebuilt before we show back up. It's kind of the whole thing. So,
That's a completely fair proposition. So I know we talked about the franchise, but prior to working with Dream Firms, had you invested in any other programs to help you to grow your firm out of curiosity?
Not a program per se. We had, like we said before, we had read books, we had done seminars or CEs or things like that. So I may be getting ahead of you a little bit, Tyler, but what we loved about your program was it took the best of all those things, and it pared it down into nice bite-sized pieces, and it was so well laid out that we could follow that easily. If it had been left to us to do, I'd still be reading management books. I have a stack of bookshelves beside me, and there's management books and marketing books and all that kind of stuff. And I would read one, and we might implement a couple of things out of it. Maybe wouldn't necessarily stick to it, for a long period of time. And so we were kind of drowning in all of this information and didn't really have
no plan.
Not a concise plan, or anything just concrete to go along with.
Yeah. We did, everybody goes to a seminar and you do this. And so, you stick with that, but how are you going to how do you pull all that information down and implement it? We went to a week-long seminar and we felt really good. We implemented, I think, 2 things out of the 100 that we got. That didn't last very long. And, you know, so it was, the information's out there. Yeah, it is out there, but I can't run a firm and try to go out and pull all this information, implement all this information, and having a program, essentially having a partner that's like, listen, I've got all this laid out for you. Just follow this. This works. It's already done for you. You know, that's essentially what that franchise would have made it appealing is, hey, this is all laid out for me. I just have to follow a path. But when you realize, hey, well, now I'm locked into someone who's a bad business partner. Now you got a problem, you know? And so with what you've done, Tyler, is you've given that back to us, but in just such a rewarding way, I guess I'd say.
I really appreciate you guys saying and sharing that. And you got me thinking I should be asking you for a percentage of your net year over year now, Ken. So be careful the comparison.
Tyler, you asked for some chili, man. I mean, come on.
I'll take chili over a percentage of your
chili.
net. Trust me. I have a much higher appreciation for chili than money. Money gets me chili. Chili
money
can't
gets
get
you
me
chili. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So I appreciate you sharing that. And it's not unfamiliar to what I hear from a lot of other individuals, which is twofold, right? Either I'm drowning in a sea of information because it's not a lack of information. It's a lack of having the information categorized in the right way so that you know what to do when and how to do it and why it's important. This is something that everyone will increasingly see from us, is that I'm adopting a 3-tier approach to everything that we do, which is the strategic approach, which is, why does this matter, right? Why do we need an online calendar? Why do we need whatever it is that we're talking about? Well, that's the strategy, but the strategy alone is meaningless, unfortunately. We can talk about why a lot. It's a major driving factor, but if we don't know what we're doing, what the tactical implementation side of it is, tactical understanding of it is, well, okay, great. We know what to do. We know why it matters. A lot of books can tell you all of that. But if we don't know how to do it, which is the technical implementation, we don't have the full picture of what we're doing. And so I completely agree with you guys. A lot of seminars, great ideas, right? Great strategy. Or here's what to do. You got to be posting on social media. It's like, cool. It's like, how? And it's like,
how? What do I do next?
Yeah.
Not yet. Not
That's
yet. We'll tell you how later.
If you bring in more clients, you should make more money. Great idea. Love it.
You don't say.
Really? Imagine that. Yeah.
So anyway, look, I appreciate you guys sharing that. And one of the things I find a lot of people doing is they're saying, I will go and figure it out on my own. And I say, hey, if you've got tens of thousands of dollars and 40 hours a week in the next decade to be able to do it, best of luck. Like, I want you to succeed, but I want you to get there faster.
It goes back to what I said earlier there. You got to surround yourself with the right people. You cannot do it by yourself. I've used this example. Hey, guess what? A little league team could beat if you had one pro baseball player, a little league team's going to beat him in a game. So that one pro player can't beat a little league team by himself. And so you have to have a team around you. You've got to have the right people around you. You cannot do it on your own. You can't. You hear about people that do, and it's like, yeah, but do you know how many people failed? That's not the best path. And that path is gonna, it's gonna age you a lot. I mean, I'm 22 years old. And this is what I look like from trying to do that. But in reality, you got to surround yourself with the right people, because that's how you're going to grow a platform that's going to allow you to continue to grow. That's what a legacy is. You might grow and say, hey, I brought in $100,000 or $200,000 revenue on my own. And I did. And it took me forever to do it because I wanted to do it my way. I had to make up my own rules. I went and researched it. I got some statistics here. I think you may get into this a little bit about growth, and I'll save that. But having the team around you, that's the best investment that you can make. That's the best right there. And so
couldn't agree more. And Ken, the way that my coach summarized this to me, which is winning with a team is the next level of business success. In order for you to become more successful, you must learn how to win with a team. And the same thing is true for you and everyone listening on this call. No business is going to be successful without an accounting, bookkeeping, tax, or financial professional on their team. It's just, it's impossible. It can't happen. And anyone who looks at that and says, you know what, I'm going to go and figure out how to do this on myself. It's like, best of luck, right? Like, I wish you nothing but the best, but the odds you're going to succeed with this are essentially zero, because you're not going to have the time, you're not going to have the expertise or the disposition to even want to do it. But we are past the halfway mark. So I just want to accelerate because I can see a lot of great questions jumping in here, and I want to make sure we get through these. So very quickly, why did you get started working with us? What was the moment where you're like, you know what, this is a solid investment. Let's pursue this.
Wow. You made it so simple, Tyler. It was, it was so clear. It was concise. Your program was so well laid out and easy. It was just so neat and tidy, and just, it was simple enough for me to understand, and I'm not an accountant. So it was super, it was intuitive. It just called my name. It said, hello, you need to be doing this. It was just, for me, it was just so obvious. It was a godsend. I mean, it was a blessing. It was just so well laid out and easy and simple. I couldn't say no. And then he came along board too.
Awesome. And so I think a lot of people, even when they hear what you just said, Julie, there's still hesitation around, well, yeah, it sounds great on the outside, but what's it like getting started once we're on the inside? I think you mentioned earlier, like our first aha moment was living by our online calendar. And that's just in the Igniter program, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially one of the earliest things that we can help people to just be able to win back their time and be significantly more efficient. But once we move into more of the Create Your Dream Firm program side of things, just give someone a bit of an understanding of what that getting started process felt like for you.
So do you want to?
No, you would.
Okay. So your program builds. It builds, each step builds on the next. And we were developing, we were kind of getting our heads wrapped around everything that we wanted to accomplish and do. We started measuring things other than just our revenues. It was such a, I'm not an accountant, but I love data. And so that really drove it home for me. I had things that I could really analyze, take a look at, measure, and track improvements. And that was such a empowering and winning moment. And it continues to be something that we just had a quarterly meeting not too long ago. And it was fantastic to see how far we had come, because sometimes, especially for us, if anybody does a lot of tax returns, we probably do close to 1,000. You get bogged down in that work, and you just, you're kind of drowning in taxes. And to be able to have a first quarter that we could measure and see accomplishments in was just so invigorating. That was a great feeling, because you don't usually get that during first quarter, or we don't anyway. We haven't normally gotten that. We've had some other feelings that could be described with, unsavory words, but right now it just feels so, I don't know. It was just getting started with you was so seamless. It was just the time commitment was reasonable. It was just easy to do. It was so methodical.
You bring up something that I love, Julie, which is when you are in the forest, proverbially speaking, when you are in the trees,
Yeah.
getting the perspective of your accomplishments can be difficult if we don't take and set aside just a little bit of time. You said a reasonable amount of time
Yeah.
so that we can change
Mm-hmm.
how we're operating and then review after a certain period of time, a quarter, a month, whatever the case may be, and look back and celebrate.
Yeah.
A lot of firms actually do make great progress,
Mm-hmm.
but they never actually get that. I'll just say what it is, that dopamine hit of
Yeah.
like, let's high five each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at what we just did. Imagine how much better we're going to be in another 90 with this same philosophy. Ken?
I think to a degree, I know when I talk to small business owners, you talk to a small business owner and they know their craft. Okay. But let's say that you're going to dig a ditch. Okay. And I say, I want you to dig a ditch from point A to point B, and you're a hard worker. I can do this. Well, you're going to get down there with a pickaxe and you're starting to dig that ditch. If you don't ever look up, you will never hit that point. You're either going to veer to the right or you're going to veer to the left. You might be the best ditch digger there is, but you still need that person standing behind you going, hey, bring it back to the left a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And as CPAs or accountants or EAs or whoever is on the call, you've worked hard to get here. You worked hard with education. You've worked hard. I mean, some people are type A personalities. It's like, hey, I'm ready to take on the world.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to have someone behind you to help you. And I know me personally, I've been resistant a lot because it's like, I know what I should do, but why don't I do it? Because I'm so busy digging that ditch that I can't see where I'm going, even though I know what to do. And you've got to have someone behind you to give you that guidance. Even though you know what to do, it's okay. That's fine. You know what to do. You still got to have that guidance behind you. You got to have someone you trust. You got to have someone who believes in you. And that's important. I mean, that's, wow. I mean, very.
And I want to just make sure everyone who's listening to this understands the importance of what Ken just shared, not how it relates to working with us in dream firms, but the tangible story that everyone could look at, understand, and say, I understand the value of this. If you can't see where you're going, even if you're the best in the world at being able to do what you do, a 1% deviation could require a ton more work than if you just said, wait a minute, no, there you go. That much better, right? Now we're going we're as efficient as we can be. And it's not that you don't know what to do. It's not that you don't do it well yourself. It's just having that extra set of eyes, that sounding board for your clients, as well as you needing it for yourself as a client, allows you to be more efficient. So Ken, love the example, brother. That is right on the money. So let's we're gonna shorten our answers dramatically here.
Okay.
So we're gonna start getting real hyper specific. How has it changed your life as being a part of Dream Firms?
We are so much more efficient now. Our time management is much better. I would say the efficiencies that we've been able to implement have saved us
a lot.
Yeah. And our employees are so much happier too. The efficiencies that we've instituted just with like acuity scheduling and some things like that have our employees think we're awesome. Yeah. And we think Tyler's awesome for showing us that. So
there's an old saying that I like, which is, I'm trying to think of the exact wording of it, but if nobody wants to work for you, nobody will want to work with you.
Yeah.
And you've got team members that want to work for you, which means that, again, that's magnetic. That's allowing you to be more efficient. And those efficiencies, they impact the bottom line and more than just dollars and cents, which is absolutely fantastic to hear. What do you enjoy most about working with us?
Ooh, a lot. I love that
So
it's
what's a
so
quick
simple.
answer?
It's simple. I love the camaraderie of our group meetings. And even though technically we're not accountable to one another in the group, there is a level of accountability there that is it drives me, and I think it drives Ken too.
Yeah.
It's just I just love that. I love that group setting. It's like therapy for accountants.
I find it fascinating that every time I ask that question, that always is a part of the answer, which is we are the strength of our community. We are the strength of our network. And by knowing what other people are going through, you likened it to therapy, right? And it's being able to speak about our problems in an environment where people understand. And it's also being able to celebrate our wins for the things we implemented, the problems we just talked about and experienced. And we said, I solved that problem actually. Here's how. And now we've got this brain trust, this think tank in a way that's just, it's magical to see the way it's evolving. And you guys are obviously such an incredible pillar of that community. So let's dive a little bit more into the data,
Okay.
which is how much did you add to your firm and in what time frame?
Okay, so I want to go back to the very beginning, about 2009, about doing it on your own and the work starting from square one. My first year of business, I did $17,000 of annual revenue. Okay, all by myself. Second year, I was really excited. I did $75,000 of annual revenue in the second year. Since January of this year, we've added $80,000 of recurring revenue.
And that is during our slowest, like this is generally our slowest quarter for recurring revenue because we're so focused on tax.
I'll say it this way, my right-hand guy, I had a conversation with him yesterday and I said, you know what, I was really upset. He always tells me I look for things to complain about, which is totally untrue. It's not true. So was sitting there with him and I said, there's a lot of things that Tyler has given us we've not gotten to yet. There's a lot of meat on that bone and we've not gotten to all of it yet. And so I was like, here's all the things we hadn't done this, we need to be doing, we got to blah, blah, blah. And then we looked back and we said, without even doing any of that, we've already made our goals. And so that was just this aha moment of like, oh my gosh, we've implemented a couple of the things that Tyler helped us do. We've already met our goals. Like I said, 80,000 of reoccurring revenue annually is what we did. We did that in the first 4 months. So, I know, Tyler, we talk about the dream one of hitting that goal. We're going to take off a couple of months. I think we'll still hit it. No problem. We only got 20,000 left to go. And that was not done. I'd say the way that we got those clients was not, it was through social media. It was through websites. It wasn't that, hey, you've been in business for 13 years. I would really think the methods that we got them from was a new method. I would say if I'd have done that in 2009, I could have had that same success. Because I've looked at that. What's really that big difference? I think it would have been similar. I really did.
It's not the motor, right? You've had a high motor since 2009. It's making sure we're pointed in the right direction and doing things that allow us to gain leverage. And
Yep.
this is what I find is one of the biggest problems is people are constantly trading their time for mediocre to less than opportunities.
Yes.
And we continue to perpetuate this cycle. And then we get referrals that are less than ideal and potentially mediocre. And we feel we have to accept them because of various reasons. But when we start changing fundamentally how we're investing our time so that we're creating leverage in marketing, in sales, in fulfillment, it doesn't matter what department of the business we're operating in. Once you have that mindset, the wins, they just keep stacking on top of each other.
The thing to add in there, and this is, I guess, sounds bad, but this is a very positive thing. One of the things that we talked about and you encouraged on We fired a client that was bringing us $45,000 a year. Fired him, said, we're done. And, we replaced that through the methods. We replaced that revenue. So that guy was taking this much time. We replaced it with clients that took up this much time. So we got rid of a headache to bring on people that met our mold, that's the clients that we want to work with. That is so empowering, because if you'd have the client that's not the right fit, get rid of them. Okay, fire them. I heard this for years. Fire a client. It's like, no, I can't pay my bills if I do that. Oh yeah, you can. Fire them. Get rid of them. There's a better one out there. If you've got the right tools in place, we just did it and exceeded it.
It's such a powerful experience, but I do believe that there is something that empowered you to do it, because you've heard the advice. Everyone's heard the advice, right? Fire the client. They're not respecting your value, your time, but we're looking at dollars and cents. We're looking at feeding our family and keeping our team employed. And if we can't reasonably predict where our next meaningful opportunity is going to come from, that allows us to make that decision, you can't make it. It's too big. But you guys, again, you put in place things that allowed you to make a powerful decision like that. And that's a compliment to you.
And the encouragement of having a partner that can guide you down the right path and call you out and go, listen, you need to trust me. And when there's one of the things that you've asked about the franchise is the trust factor. That's huge. Does my partner have my best interest in mind? And, when you feel that, and it's like, okay, I'm going to have to take this leap of faith because, my partner who I trust is telling me this, being Tyler, we did it and it worked,
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Real quick, we got 4 quick questions. We're going to rip through them and then we're going to get to Q&A. What would you say to someone considering our services right now?
Don't wait. If we would have had this in 2009, we'd be light years ahead of where we are today. So just don't wait. Just do it.
Yep.
Perfect. Why do you consider this one of the best investments you've made in your business?
I made I brought on $80,000 of reoccurring revenue in 4 months.
Yeah. The return on investment is incredible dollar-wise, but the return on the investment as far as time goes, that's invaluable.
Pina coladas, no mojitos in Cancun.
Awesome. What has surprised you the most when it came to growing your practice?
So your program builds throughout. The whole thing, it's step by step. It just keeps building and building and building. And all of those little steps prepare you for everything, that's coming down the road. So I was surprised with your program, how simple and continuous it is. It's just always feeding itself. So it's easy. You make it so easy and so just efficient. The more we get into it, the less and less time it requires, which is kind of funny in a way. So it's just, I think that's the thing that's been the most surprising.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think we know the answer to this, but how close are you to winning your first Dream Firms award? That's adding bill and collect $100,000 in new business in less than 365 days.
I think we'll do it in 5 months. It from start to finish 5 months. I think, yeah.
If we're $20,000, that's not, we could do that pretty easy. So
and that's during your slowest quarter. So I'm not.
Yeah. If we don't, if we stay on, all we have to do is stay on track, and 2 months we'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Who would you recommend the Create Your Dream Firm program to?
Anybody.
Any person in the accounting field, anybody in that, and maybe even people who aren't in accounting can glean a lot from this. There's so many great business this is tailored to, that accounting niche, but anybody really could benefit from. Anybody who owns a business or has a pulse
Accounting.
or wants to grow.
Accounting.
Yeah.
I'll agree with accounting because I don't want to take away from the power of our groups.
Yeah.
Where we're all working through similar problems, but 100% agreed. So we're going into Q&A. If you guys have questions, you got to get them in now because we're going to rip through these. I've got a question from Antonio. Antonio says, wow, Ken, I don't know how you do it, but I think if I was in business with my wife, our marriage wouldn't last through the week. Antonio, I don't think that's a question, but I would say have a little more strength or faith in the strength of your union. Kelly, seriously, how are you guys this happy during this chaotic tax season? What is the secret?
Tyler.
Systems.
It's Tyler.
It's Tyler. Tyler, I would say the systems we put in, business culture is a big one for us. Our employees, we are not a typical CPA firm. I think you guys can tell that. Our employees are the same way. We have fun. We don't have fun in the arena that, CPAs go, oh, we have fun and you're, I don't know, playing a bridge game or something. No, I mean, we enjoy and have a great time together. Culture, huge. Systems, huge. That's how we get through it. Yeah.
Awesome. Those are the secrets. Katrina, Julian, Ken, love your interview. All that you're saying is so true. How about that? 100%. Patrick, wow. If I lost my biggest client, I don't know what I do. Inspirational. Thank you for sharing. I might just need to see what this program is all about. Patrick, I think you do. Definitely empower you to be able to make a similar decision. Kyle says, congrats on the growth. And I know for a fact I'd win that chili cook-off, but Kyle, you need a ticket in order to win. But
come on. Let's see.
He says, bring it on. He says, bring it on.
Group and we'll invite you. If you're in that, you'll get an invitation if you're in Tyler's group.
100%. Chase says, how do you work with your clients? I think we've talked a lot about the efficiencies you guys have developed. I know it's a kind of a broad question there, but how would you answer that? How do you guys work with your clients?
Say we're very relational driven.
Yeah, very much.
So we're very fortunate to be able to work with people that we really enjoy and like and care about. And I think people, what is the old saying? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so we really develop a partnership with our clients to help them grow their businesses.
In a roundabout way, one of our qualifications to be our client, if we wouldn't have you over for dinner, we probably don't need to work with you. And so the relationship that we have with our clients is very strong, and there's a great deal of respect there both ways. So I could talk a while on that one, but I hope that answers.
Well, you stole the thought from my head, Ken, which was I was literally going to say exactly what you said because you had told it to me not that long ago. And I was like, that is such a great barometer for how to work with clients, which is, would I invite you over for dinner to my house? And if the answer is probably shouldn't be working with them. But I think the other main thing that we'll pull from the interview at large here is a large adaptation to technology, moving to the cloud well before dream firms, but now being able to adopt additional efficiencies to make the adoption to the cloud, help the clients adopt it, want to embrace the team culture more, take less time of the owners. Those are all of the ways in which Ken and Julie are working with their clients. Katrina, amen. The Dream Firms program has tons of value for any firm that wants to grow. Systems are everything for success. What's up, Katrina, fellow Dream Firm leader? Hope you're doing fantastic. She just shared a huge win in the group not too long ago. Nikki, hey, Ken and Julie, thanks for sharing. I jumped ahead here. I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but is it weird to have a coach who's younger than you? It seems like you guys have a lot of stuff figured out, and I'm trying to see how someone who looks younger than my kids would help me.
First off, I'm younger than Tyler. Thank you.
No. Look, age is a number.
Yeah.
Don't let that deter you. Tyler, you've owned your own CPA firm, right? You've had your own firm. The experience and the amount of time that Tyler has dedicated to gathering all this information and putting it together so concisely and easily to digest is so valuable. I wouldn't worry about
No. Well,
I wouldn't worry about any age factor or anything like
you've
that.
got to surround yourself with the right team.
Yeah.
If you go back to the sports thing,
Yeah.
do they look at it and go, well, that guy's younger, so we better not bring him on our team? You bring on the right guy, and that's what you got to do. It doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter, but sometimes someone who you say is, if you found someone older, they may be too antiquated. As you heard me mention there a little bit ago about the CPAs, and every time you look and see this, they've got green bar paper. They didn't evolve with the world.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it. It's the quality of individual. No, I have no problem with Tyler being younger than me. There's a lot of things that I do know, and I know really well. I mean, I might know more than Tyler in a lot of areas.
Absolutely.
But that's what a team is.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And I like to say I learn as much from my clients as they learn from me. Like every relationship's it's a two-way street in the service business. And don't be fooled by Tyler's looks or age. He's the bomb and has a great team. Maureen is actually the leader of Dream. Just to be clear, she's the boss. I'm like the dancing monkey. She makes everything work. Like when Julie's like, it's so easy. It's so like,
Maureen.
100%, 100%, just giving it where it's due. Eric, well, this was the kick in the pants I needed. Thank you, Ken and Julie. I need to get my spouse to rewatch this with me. It'll be available for replay, Eric. Please be sure to hang out with your spouse and check this out. Lance, book my call. I am ready to create my dream firm, whatever it takes. Now that's the mentality of a dream firm leader, whatever it takes. Eileen, what's the link again, Tyler? If I go through another tax season and can't smile like these two lovebirds, I'm going to throw in the towel. Eileen, don't throw in the towel. Don't throw in the towel. They're definitely lovebirds. Book your call. We'll make sure you know everything that you need. Katrina says, good move, Lance, 100%. Kara says, my guy says this is the right move. My brain. My gut says this is the right move, but one question is holding me back. How much one-on-one time do you actually give your clients, Tyler? Was burned badly with a similar promise before and don't want to repeat it. Ken and Julie, could you speak to that?
We have unlimited access through Voxer. It's amazing. We can pick up a phone, leave a quick little message, and Tyler's back with us within 24, 48 hours. We've
sooner than that.
Yeah, it's sooner than that.
Time difference.
Different time zone. But not only that, there's monthly coaching sessions, and then we have a group session every week. So it feels like we're getting. We're definitely not attention starved by any means.
And the group has just earlier about the thing about how old Tyler is. You got to understand the amount of knowledge that's in that group.
Yeah.
The amount of skill sets, the different areas of the country. So yeah, I mean, plenty of time.
I'm a huge believer in your firm will be determined by the strength of your network. Mm-hmm. And that includes the strength of your network of your peers and peers who are making similar levels of investments of time and capital. Yes, as yourself will only be a little bit of a filter to ensure that you've got the right talent that's surrounding you per a lot of the points that Ken has brought up and Julie and myself over the last hour here. So we are out of time. We've got links in the chat down below, but Ken and Julie, any parting shots before we wrap up here?
Guys, don't hesitate. Join Tyler's group.
Join the team.
It's the best decision I think we've ever made.
Join the team. Join the team. That's all.
Absolute pleasure to be working with you. Hope to have any number of the people on today's call as a hopeful dream firm leader in the not so distant future. And if there's one thing that I want to make sure everyone is 100% aware of, remember, only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every single step of the way. And that includes the wonderful Ken and Julie Mallow. Thank you so much for investing your time with us and sharing your wisdom, and see you on group in just a little bit. Talk to you soon, everyone.
Take care.